Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. It is JJ and Alex. It's a Monday. Jeremiah Jensen, Alex Curie, thanks for being with us on the program. Just some technical difficulties here in the studio. Not that you care. Not that you need to be. I don't need to saddle you with any of that. Good
Where's
listener.
the cameras when we need them today?
No, I know. Look at this setup I've got right now.
So if anyone in the building in IT is listening,
this is my,
we have
this
an
is my
SOS.
Ticket. This is my ticket.
We have
I'm
an
saying it over the air.
SOS in the KSL Sports Zone studio.
Yeah,
Please help us.
No, we got it. It's fine. We don't need you. All right? We'll figure it out. We got lots going on today. JJ, how was your weekend, dude? I know you were
busy.
I know you were here late on Saturday.
I was here all day, 10-hour day on Saturday.
Nice.
Obviously, we had the early BYU game. I anchored on Saturday. Then we had the late Utah-Arizona game, which was, we'll get into that. My goodness.
I didn't stay up that late. How'd it go?
Not good, Bob.
Not good, Bob.
Not good.
Well,
So it was a long day on Saturday, and obviously we had a long day on Sunday. The NFL delivered. A lot of fun stuff going on there. Big weekend for locals in the NFL.
Yeah, I was going to say your locals
that's fun.
delivered. Your locals delivered.
Watching those guys make plays is fun.
Yeah, and Fred Warner was like, they're going to need something from some of these early games. I'll deliver. No problem.
He came through.
You need a pick six early, I'll give it to you. You can have that. Yeah,
we love
showing
touchdowns. So it was a good weekend. You?
Oh, same thing. Lots of football talk, lots of Big 12, lots of coverage across the entire board, and then on top of it, you pile on top of it your own actual kids games, and you got yourself a stew. My goodness, we had quite a weekend at the old Curie household. So lots going on. But you know what is so dang exciting? I cannot believe the storylines that we keep being gifted, I guess, across the world of college football, and especially here locally, because
The Big 12 has delivered.
But is it good?
No.
That's what I was going to say.
No, it's not.
Because we
It's
wondered if
not
this is the type
great.
of thing we were going to be seeing. The self-implosion, the cannibalizing of one's own conference. And if a G5 conference champion ends up being higher rated than a Big 12 conference champion, I'm not going to be surprised. This is something that Mitch and I actually talked about on Sunday, or on the First and 12 program. After Utah's loss, we were all looking at each other and we're going, all right, so what goes on here? What's going on here? It's like, well, you've got yourself a real problem because who knows? And Mitch said it, I think, really well. He goes, I actually just don't know. I just don't know if this conference has a team that's better than 13th or 14th in the country. And then the rankings come out. Who's the highest rated Big 12 team?
I got it right here. It's
in the
Iowa
AP
State
poll.
Cyclones.
So Iowa State's there, then BYU, yes.
Correct.
Then
17,
Utah.
18. Kansas State's 20, and Arizona probably should be close.
I'm surprised Arizona's not in there, right?
Yeah, they dropped quite a bit. The Northern Arizona performance was poor, and then Kansas State took it to them.
Yeah, but are they 4-1, 3-1?
Yeah, they are.
3-1.
They are 3-1.
Well, and then we were so close to putting UCF in the top 25, and then,
Ugh.
gosh darn it, is Colorado in the top 25
What's
yet?
up, Bubs? You believe that?
Oh no, I do not. Still don't.
Hold on.
But Colorado.
What does Colorado have to do to earn your respect, Alex?
Well-
what does Colorado have to do? You know what? They got a chance to do that. They got a bye week.
Yeah, so
But
Utah,
what do they
BYU,
have coming up next?
I think the bye weeks are really funny. I think it's Utah, BYU, Colorado, maybe Kansas State. Like some of the basically all your biggest teams in the Big 12 have bye weeks this week. So Iowa State's playing. Kansas State is the one that has a bye then. All right. So lots of big games across the conference. I don't know what to think about this dadgum conference. I don't know what to think about the performance from the Utes the other night. I don't know what to think about BYU's performance.
Oklahoma State's 0-2, and they're not good.
No, and you know what? Can we already put a fork in their conference championship
Done.
appearance?
Toast. They're in the bottom.
But wouldn't it be like Mike Gundy to win out? And they'd be
Even if they win out, I don't think.
Listen, they'll be 7-2. They got in last year at 7-2.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a 2-loss conference team in the conference championship. Now, can Oklahoma State figure it out? That would be the most Mike Gundy thing. This is what he did last year. They pooped the bed early, and then guess what? Ended up in the Big 12 championship game.
So you're saying Kansas has a shot as well?
Is Kansas 0-2 also?
Yes, and 1-4.
Yeah, but they go to Arizona State this week, and I bet they lose that game in Tempe. Like they're just and Jeff Grimes is going to get fired midseason because Lance Leipold is going to have to start pulling levers to make himself look important, right?
Kansas sucks, but at least they've scored points. Houston has yet to score a point in conference play.
Yeah, they got blanked for the second week in a row. That's how you're going to find yourself. Hey, spoiler alert on our Big 12 rankings. Houston's last.
They've scored 52 points this season in 5 games.
Nah, that's not bad.
And 33 of them came against Rice.
Okay. Did they lose that game, too, against Rice?
They won 33-7.
They on the Bayou bucket.
I love how it's a Bayou bucket because
is that to puke in?
It's to barf
after
in.
having to watch those two teams play the game of football?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. But what a weekend in college football. That Alabama-Georgia game ended up delivering.
Gosh.
BYU decided to make some fun happen during that game against Baylor. They still pulled out the win. Ute fans are wondering what on earth is going on, and I am too. How are you supposed to figure out what is going on with your team when you tell your freshman quarterback, I guess you're starting again. Just be ready, I guess. Whatever.
Jeez.
Hey, just be ready at any time. You're the backup. You got to be ready at any time. That's your job. But it sounds like his job might actually be to be the starter of this football team. But we'll see. And Coach Kyle Whittingham, I think, is probably over it. He's just going, hey, we'll see in 2 weeks what happens. Hey, Ute fan, are you excited about hearing? I don't know. We'll decide in a couple weeks after we're back from the bye. That is not a good situation to be in right now. It's not good. All right? Let's jump in, though. We got our show to get to, JJ. Let's actually, I don't want to go totally off-piste here, but we'll jump into a ton of things. Let's get going. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. And let's kick everything off at the cut, as we always do. Let's do it right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
As a play caller, if you're Aaron Roderick, this is opportunity potentially to take a shot because you're in such a good shape after first down.
Retzlaff looking downfield, taking a shot. It's caught. Lassiter. Touchdown BYU. 44 yards.
Oh, that was a nice throw. And that was part of a ridiculous onslaught at the beginning of that first half for BYU. 21-0, 28-7. They go into the half 31-10, I think, right? Or 31-14.
Yeah.
So, and everyone knew when it was 31-14, you go, well, this game's not over. At 28-7, you almost did, because then you think if they score on this one, they ended up having a punt on that fifth possession. And then you go, well, okay. You started to let him back in a little bit. And JJ, just to make our jobs a little bit more difficult, Jake Retzlaff, or more fun, I don't know which one you want to look at it. Jake Retzlaff has the second half that he has, throws for 36 yards after throwing for 180 in the first half and 2 touchdowns. Decides to go for 36 yards in the second half, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Right. Just as you'd expect. It's like, I don't want the fans to think that Jake Retzlaff has turned a corner. That's what Jake Retzlaff is saying. No, I don't want him to think that I'm there yet. I want him to think that we're sandbagging, all right? Jake Retzlaff. They like that we doubt them. They want this to keep going so they can go 10-0.
Sure.
And 12-0.
Kalani Sitake in his weekly presser. Let's jump into what he did say about Jake Retzlaff and the leadership that he showed in that win over Baylor.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I think he's working really well with the quarterback room in terms of the offense. I think he's starting to really come into his own, starting to feel really, really comfortable with everything, the timing of all of it. It could get better, but I like where he's at right now, and I like where his mindset is. So I look forward to seeing great things from him. He's willing to do whatever it takes.
Still, though, Jake Retzlaff is undefeated as a starter this year. Somebody
reached out to me and goes, Gary Bohannon could start after the bye week, right? And I said, that's an absolute insane thought.
What?
This is what you get from BYU fans sometimes, though, right?
Sure.
Where it's like, okay, I don't trust him. But you're 5-0. Why would you ever make a change?
No, you
don't. You can't make a change at this point. You make changes when things are so – here's the thing about Jake Retzlaff. He brought Baylor in almost single-handedly. Sort of the defense was a little bit – civish in the second half, but he's also the guy who basically won the game for you in the first half, right?
He was great
on the ground, through the air, tight windows on some of these throws. He was extremely efficient. Yes, and they asked him to run the ball, not just scrambles, right? They asked him. They designed runs, including a touchdown run that was for 17 yards. And
2 games in a row, he's been the leading rusher.
And yeah, that's not a good sign, right?
It's not sustainable.
Well, it's also not a model that you have. I mean, especially if your quarterback isn't running for 138 yards like that. If you have a running quarterback, not just a serviceable runner for a quarterback, which I think is what you have with Jake Retzlaff, and you don't want to run him that much. So, regardless, Jake Retzlaff won this game for you on Saturday, despite what you might think. It wasn't Crew Wakely picking it off at the end that won the game for you, all right? I know it got close. Baylor, to their credit, made some adjustments. They're fighting for their coach's job, frankly, and they didn't do enough probably to do it. I'm surprised that Dave Aranda made it through the weekend, to be quite honest. So this Baylor team is definitely a physical team. And if you're a BYU fan, you watch this team get their butts handed to them back in 2021, and that was a wake-up call. Knowing that the invite had come to the Big 12 at that point, Baylor fans tapping you on the head and going, you're going to love it in this conference. Oh, you didn't win today, but, that's cool. I mean, you guys are welcome. Welcome to the conference. We'd love having you part of it. And then they go down there this year, just 3 years later, and they beat Baylor. That's a full circle moment for Kalani because
100%.
He went down there, and that's when they realized they didn't have the depth to be a Big 12 competition back in 2021.
I was on that field 3 years ago. Tom Homo was there, too, and we were all on the sideline at the end of the game having the same observations, is BYU has a long way to go to match the physicality that Baylor had on the front. Now, that Baylor team went on to win the Big 12 championship that year in a Big 12 that had Texas and Oklahoma.
Yes.
They beat Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. So this Baylor team's not quite as good as that Baylor team in 2021, but it's not that far off either.
Right.
And what I witnessed on Saturday is that gap has closed. And that's a credit to the BYU's football program, their staff, they're recruiting better players. They got the horses that they need now to compete. And it's showing on the field, it's showing in the win-loss column. 5-0 is well earned. You look at what we were talking before the show at the ESPN strength of schedule ranker. Jeremy, was it saying BYU had
BYU's number 2.
Second,
the second strongest strength of record so far in the strength of schedule that they've had in the entire country.
Behind Alabama. Okay, and let's analyze that a little bit. That Week 2 win at SMU looks pretty darn good right now, doesn't it?
Beating Kansas State last week looks even better, and I will just say this. Both of those are going to serve you well the rest of the year for your strength of schedule because Kansas State, they got their bell rung and they woke up after that BYU game, right?
Yes.
And I think you're going to see something different out of Chris Kleinman's guys. But, yeah, every game started like SMU put up 42 against Florida State. Now everybody else has been too, but they put up 66 against TCU.
That was an explosive offense, and BYU made them look inept.
They could only put 6 field goals
They couldn't throw the football. Right. They could barely run it. They scored 15 points. All they could do was kick field goals.
See?
BYU is really good. They are 5-0 because they've earned it. And all the projections, all the things we looked at in the offseason, just throw it away. We were wrong. BYU's a good football team. They deserve to be 5-0. Right now, you ask me today, on September 30th of 2024, who the best team in the Big 12 is, my answer firmly is BYU. And I have evidence to back it up. They have the best resume.
You can cite sources. You've got a big bibliography at the end of this paper.
And I have facts. I'm sorry. And Utah fans grumbling right now, I'm sorry. It's true. BYU's the best team in the Big 12 on September 30th, 2024 until proven otherwise.
Yeah, and guess what? BYU has really good Septembers. And September ends today. The question is how are they going to respond the rest of the way? You have a bye week. You have a team in Arizona who now scares the actual blankety blank out of you because they're going to come into your house. And by the way, it's a 2 p.m. game that they announced, right? 2 p.m., middle of the day. They're on the Big Fox, right? Yeah. And everybody's going to watch you. And are you ready? And by the way, the day game talk, we're going to have to freaking hear it again. All right?
They buried that.
Oh, they did? Now that they're one in.
We're going to talk about that next. We're going to talk about that 2 p.m. start.
I'm going to start doing. That's actually going to be the thing I talk about the most every day. Until then, I'll see you in 13 days or whatever it is. I'm going to talk about day game.
I don't know about the day game thing, but you bring up a great point with BYU, and we have seen it for years now. The October swoon has happened every single
and it's really been,
year.
It's really been a September hot start. And so Octobers are difficult because in the past they've gotten absolutely blasted by the physicality of the teams that they were facing. They'd get an upset over here against Wisconsin. They'd get this game over here. They'd get this game at home, and they'd win it. Oh, amazing. In 2021, Utah down in Provo. That was the last time they beat them. And guess what? Then they get into a bye week, first week of October. Then they go 2 losses in a row, right?
Boise State.
And then Baylor. Yeah. Yep. And that was a good team
Remember
that year.
The win over 19th ranked Arizona State? The Algier punched the ball out thing.
Yeah.
BYU fans were riding the high there. 4-0 going into October, and boom.
And guess what?
5-0 going into the Boise State game.
That BYU, that Utah game that year, and the Arizona State game, night games.
Yeah.
Then they just had a whole slew of October day games they just struggled with.
What happened the next year in 2022?
Oh.
They beat Baylor. Remember the double overtime game?
Guess what?
Lost Oregon the next week. Yeah, but that Oregon team was really good. Ended up being in the Pac-12 championship game. And then they whipped Wyoming and Utah State, and you're high as a kite, thinking you got a great year off to a great start, and then boom, 4 straight losses.
Whoa!
Remember the Boise
fans?
State game was they needed Puka to get that catch against Boise State. Otherwise, it would have been 5 straight. They would have been 6 losses. They would have finished 5-7 that year. So yes, October. You got to solve October.
Figure it out.
Is that this year finally the year they get over the hump and figure out October? Even if they don't, Alex, they're 5-0.
Well,
they're 1 win away from going to a bowl game, and that was the bar.
that was
the bar, and
really
they're
was.
already 1 game away from it. Making us all look foolish. I'll raise my hand right now. I look like a fool. Well, I didn't think they were going to be any good this year, and I'm wrong.
It's not about not being any good. It's about understanding what the competition has been like. And frankly, the thing that's been the most shocking for BYU this year, it's not been about how well you've seen guys play. It's how guys who are the backups have come in, and the drop-off has not been hardly anything.
Exactly. That's the difference.
And so that's how October losses get solved, is the depth issues that they've had in the past. That offensive line, look, they had injuries on Saturday.
It was a mash unit, and they were fine.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Well, maybe not. The second half was
a little
sketchy.
shaky. Yeah, but
it was a real test of that depth, and I feel like, Alex, they passed on Saturday.
They did. I don't know what it's going to look like without Connor Pay for a couple of weeks. At the very least, we know. This is what Kalani said about Connor Pay. And look, we get to have our weekly conversation with him tomorrow. And I actually went back and forth with Connor via text, and I was like, how do you want to handle this? Because I'm not going to violate any HIPAA stuff here. And he goes, we'll talk about it. So tomorrow, you're going to hear Connor Pay talking about it. But here's what Coach Kalani Sitake said about the injuries, specifically about Connor Pay and what that's going to look like, at least in the short term.
Highly doubtful for the upcoming game, but I like the way the guys filled in for Connor specifically. He's still team captain. He's going to have to lead us. And he did that during the game, and he's continuing doing it right now as a captain.
That's as bad as it gets in terms of anchors you need on your team that can't be injured. And yet, who was it that came in? Macassini, right?
Yeah.
Comes in, and he's not even – by the way, Jake Eichhorn was listed as the backup center, but he's been banged up a little bit. They are mixing and matching these guys in that interior line between the guards and the center, and it's working. Like, we've been talking more about Bruce Mitchell this year than we've ever talked about a guy who was a third-string guard going into the year. But this is what you get when you look like a Big 12 team, is you're talking about second and third-string depth, and you're being okay with it because those guys were this close to winning those jobs, or they're this close to always being good enough to being in the game next. So that's what's different about this team from 2021 till now, because you had a lot of talent on those teams.
right? Obviously, they won 10 games that year. But you didn't have the depth. You didn't have the ability to be able to hang long term. This season is every game's a sprint, but the entire season's a marathon, right? And those 5 games, yes, everyone is readjusting their expectations for this BYU team. However, 5 games into last year, what was BYU's record? 4-1.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's not like they were 2-3 and licking their wounds already. They were 4-1 at this point last year. So I would just caution everybody to think that everything is a given. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Let's we've got tons to break down. I mean, my goodness. And yes, we will get to Utah. We're going to dedicate our entire next hour basically to Utah and figuring out what's going on there. That game, and then looking forward to whatever the schedule is going to bring and who your quarterback is going to be. A mess. We got tons to talk about. Stay right here with us. This part of the program brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local financial needs. We'll come right back. More to go right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Made them look inept.
They could only put 6 field goals
They
up.
couldn't throw the football.
Right.
They could barely run it. They scored 15 points. All they could do was kick field goals.
See?
BYU is really good. They are 5-0 because they've earned it. And all the projections, all the things we looked at in the offseason, just throw it away. We were wrong. BYU's a good football team. They deserve to be 5-0. Right now, you ask me today, on September 30th of 2024, who the best team in the Big 12 is, my answer firmly is BYU. And I have evidence to back it up. They have the best resume.
You can cite sources. You've got a big
I have
bibliography at the end of this paper.
And I have facts. I'm sorry. And Utah fans grumbling right now, I'm sorry. It's true. BYU's the best team in the Big 12 on September 30th, 2024, until proven otherwise.
Yeah, and guess what? BYU has really good Septembers, and September ends today. The question is how are they going to respond the rest of the way? You have a bye week. You have a team in Arizona who now scares the actual blankety blank out of you because they're going to come into your house. And by the way, it's a 2 p.m. game that they announced, right? 2 p.m., middle of the day. They're on the Big Fox, right? Yeah. And everybody's going to watch you. And are you ready? And by the way, the day game talk, we're going to have to freaking hear it again.
Nah,
all right?
They buried that.
Oh, they did? Now that they're one. Now that they're one.
We're going to talk about that next. We're going to talk about that 2 p.m. start.
I'm going to start doing. That's actually going to be the thing I talk about the most every day. Until then, I'll see you in 13 days or whatever it is. I'm going to talk about day game.
I don't know about the day game thing, but you bring up a great point with BYU, and we have seen it for years.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, you know what just happened? We did just continue.
We did continue next. So we're here. Next.
And we're continuing.
Let's continue. Next. I'm fired.
Oh, no, you're not. Listen,
I am an idiot.
No. This job.
We're going to replace I'm an idiot here, Jeremy. Or you could just add to it with this. I'm fired.
You got it clean. Nice. Come on, JJ.
I'm going to go back to TV, folks.
No,
it's been fun. It's been real. Thanks for having me here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's time for me to go back to what I really do.
By the way, you were going to do that anyway. You're going to continue next on TV after this program.
About 2 hours.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, by the way, you can nominate your youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit that nomination, KSLSports.com/contests, and listen every Thursday to our program where we read those winners off. We celebrate all of the efforts of those volunteers that do an awesome job making an impact on the youth sports in their area with the Hercules Hero of the Week. Sponsored by Hercules First Credit Union and Beehive Meals. All right. Can we stop it with the playoff talk? We can't.
I'm with you on this.
No. No, I know about it. I'm just saying about BYU specifically, okay? I know. Jeremy, I get it. You're doing your job.
But we, as the media, suck. Because before the season, it was, I don't know, I guess maybe getting to 6 games is pretty good. Let's get bowl eligible for BYU. What's your expectation? Probably go bowl eligible. I don't know, 5-7. What do you think? 7-5. Maybe bowl eligible, 6-6. And now we go, playoff question mark? It's
Why not? That's the BYU way.
It's not either of those
It's either
things.
we suck or we're the best. There's no in between.
No. It's just funny because because we've been talking about this every week. So there is this fun little game. It's called the ESPN Playoff Predictor, okay? So I'm going to play this right now, right? The ESPN Playoff Predictor, which puts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 24 teams in front of us, okay? And you can pick one of these teams. Well, not one of them. You can pick a handful of teams. You start going. You have 24 teams, the best chance to make the 12-team playoff right now, according to odds makers. Okay, and Jeremy, you're not wrong to talk about it because BYU is technically considered a 12-team playoff contender today.
24% is pretty good.
On September 30th, 2024, as I said on the last segment, who's the best team in the Big 12 right now? Who's the best team in the Big 12 right now, as of today?
Yeah, it's got to be the Cougs,
It's the BYU Cougars.
Yeah.
What does the Big 12 get in the college football playoff? An automatic berth.
Yes, I do. Now, Kansas State is on this list. They have an 18% chance. They already have a conference loss to, guess who? Iowa State's on this list. Now, Iowa State technically has a better shot according to the numbers. And interestingly enough, neither BYU nor Iowa State play one another this year. That's part of why you see them right next to each other as well. However, they could play one another in the conference championship game in Arlington, Texas, in the early part of December.
Like everyone expected when the season began.
Yeah, Matt Campbell versus Coach Kalani Sitake.
Or is it going to be BYU versus Coach Prime?
No, will you? Okay, now that talk needs to stop immediately.
Oh,
I won't allow any of that.
I'm starting that talk right now.
Actually, you know what? That would be damn fun, wouldn't it? Could you imagine the freaking circus?
BYU,
in the Big 12
Colorado,
game?
no bull junk.
What's up, Bubs? You believe
No,
that?
I do not.
Hold on.
He calls it bull junk, calls it bull stuff sometimes if he's really aggressive.
Yeah.
Bull stuff.
Hey, can you imagine?
Actually,
Can
you know what?
imagine?
That would be
ESPN,
insanity.
ESPN would be like, oh my gosh.
Well, and then Brett Yormark would be like, what?
Yeah.
He would also melt down, right? Brett Yormark would be like, I mean, he wouldn't know how to contain himself.
He'd spill his caramel latte.
By the way, the second day of the Big 12 championship or the Big 12 media day stuff, I think it's funny because I don't think he did TV on the second day at all.
No.
Still wore all the same makeup.
Yep.
As much makeup as he could. Just because there might have been a possibility that someone might have put a camera in his face. Now, by the way, the Big 12 didn't allow anybody to put a camera in his face day 2. But regardless, he had the makeup on.
So if he's going to call Steve Sarkisian Garcesian,
Yeah.
what is he going to call Kalani Sitake
Kalani
when he gives him
Sitake?
the trophy at the Big 12 championship?
To give Coach Garcesian.
You know, it's some version of salami karate. What were the ones we heard?
Salami karate.
What were the ones that we've heard?
You nailed it. It's going to be salami karate. Congratulations to head coach Salami Karate of BYU. Your Big 12
My
champions.
favorite part is he's going to put a little accent on it, too. Salami karate. Because you know it's going to be something along those lines. Now, that being said, let's go through here because you can choose one team to make the college football playoff. So let's click BYU because they're in that 2014. Now, they have a 53% chance to win that Oklahoma State game. By the way, can you freaking believe that now, right? That they have a 53% chance to beat Oklahoma State according to the FPI.
Oh, yeah.
But they are not favored against UCF, and they are not favored against the Utes. And I don't think they should be. You're going to Salt Lake. And I know what Arizona just did, wild. But that's also by the way, there are 2 bye weeks between now and then. So if you're wondering if Cam Rising's, as somebody put it on Twitter, torn hangnail.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh.
I can't claim that.
Hey,
Somebody else put it out there. Torn hangnail. I was like, and
pretty
by the way,
painful. It's pretty painful. Don't you mock him.
but I will tell you, it was a
it was an intense Utah fan who put it out there.
So I'm worried about
I think fans
Ute Nation turning on their quarterback.
I get where their feelings are coming from. I mean, I have more than once, just between last week and this week, heard the phrase, I'm just so sick of it right now. Just pull the Band-Aid off and play Isaac Wilson for the rest of time. Develop Isaac Wilson. Figure it out. I'm over it. I've heard that too, right? But BYU has to play Utah at Utah November. It says the 8th.
November 9th.
It's the 9th. So, and like I said, there are 2 bye weeks between now and then for both teams, right? So getting right isn't going to be a question unless you have some season-ending injuries in between then. And I think that, the idea was if there's going to be a game that Connor Pay could be back for, maybe it is that November 8th game against Utah, November 9th game against Utah. That's a month away-ish.
They only play 3 games in the month of October.
That bodes well for them, right?
100%. We talked about the October swoon. What if you just eliminate one of the games in October? There you go.
But here's what it is, though. Arizona, Oklahoma State, don't hang up the phone on Mike Gundy, please, okay?
He can find a way.
Yes. Arizona looks extremely tough going on the road wherever they go now.
How's BYU going to throw the football against Arizona? Their DBs are no joke.
And they can't run it right now very well.
Right.
Okay? They go to UCF in October.
I'm not worried about that.
Oh, after one game against Colorado?
So let's talk about UCF real quick.
RJ Harvey. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
KJ Jefferson is not.
How good is TCU? Not good. TCU had a what lead against them and blew it?
Yeah, as a 2-touchdown lead with.
It was a big lead.
With like 3 minutes left.
TCU in Fort Worth, I'll grant you that. And then UCF turns around at home and lays an egg against Colorado. I don't think UCF is very good.
All right, Arizona, Oklahoma State, UCF, Utah. That's a tough stretch.
It is a tough stretch, but there is, like you say, a bye week in between UCF and Utah. That's only one road game.
Okay, choose the winner of the team's toughest 2 matchups. So let's say the toughest 2 matchups. Let's say they beat UCF at UCF, and let's say that I'm not gonna make a guess on the Utah BYU game because they just said pick two games there. So I'm gonna go easy on us and pick the. Yeah, I'm going to say that they beat UCF on the road, like you were saying. You're not as worried about that, although that technically is the lower.
That's a Cougar win.
Okay. Oklahoma State at home, we'll give that one a win, all right? And, well, it makes you pick. Should we pick a win over Utah or a loss to the Utes? Let's say
just for fun right now, today on September 30th, pick a win.
Okay, so let's say they win that game.
I think they might have an L against Arizona.
For poops and giggles. Oh, boy, let's not get into that yet. We'll do that. We got plenty of time. BYU and its conference championship game. Will they win it? Let's say, for the sake of argument, yes. Okay. What does that mean? BYU ends up on this.
What happened?
So, if you say that they win if you say that BYU wins the conference championship game. They have BYU as the number 1 overall.
That's what I have as well here, following along with you.
So our conclusion here is the ESPN playoff predictor is broken.
No, opposite.
Hey, you know what? Sign them up. Guess who they have in the first? Oh, my gosh. Guess who they would be playing? They would get a bye, and they would get the winner of Missouri-Boise State that they have on this one as Boise State. It would be a BYU-Boise State quarterfinal game.
Shut up.
They would be... And then they would play the winner of Georgia and Texas in the semifinals. This is what we signed up for the college football playoff for, right?
I hope we have this kind of chaos.
Because I'm not the one. Please don't. Rockin' Royal, Rockin' Navy. Come on. Oh, this would be the. And if Cody Epps isn't right, if he's not right for those games, maybe we have him do the halftime performance with this tune. All right? That is hilarious. All right, so there you go.
Wait, do they win? Do they keep going? Let people know.
This one says that they, with 200,000 simulations, looks like they would lose to Georgia.
and Georgia and Tennessee would play in the championship, and Tennessee would be your national champion.
It is definitely broken.
According to this situation. By the way, they have Alabama as the 7th seed.
Rutgers 12 seed?
Yeah, yes, I do have Rutgers as the 12th seed.
That's what I got.
Rutgers 12. And by the way, Greg Schiano's guys are dialed up right now. Everybody makes fun of Rutgers.
They got a big win.
I mean, what are they going to do against Maryland? That's what I want to know. All right, so like I said, this is for poops and giggles.
Look, I know it's crazy talk, but on September 30th, who's the best team in the Big 12?
Yep.
BYU. And what's great about this new world we live in this 12-team playoff era, is BYU has an opportunity. They have a path. It's not crazy. Now, they have a long way to go, and I don't think we should, like you said at the beginning of the segment, we're all getting crazy if we're talking playoffs right now on September 30th.
Right.
But they're the best team in the Big 12 as of right now.
Yep.
And the great thing about where they're at right now and the system that now is in place, they have a chance.
So, even if BYU were to, according to this computer simulation, if BYU beats Oklahoma State, Arizona, UCF, and then loses to Utah, and then even loses the conference championship game, because they'd get there as a one-loss team, they still have them as a 10 seed playing at Penn State round 1. How fun would that be?
It'd be great.
So what's going on right now is this. If you can avoid more than one loss, you will be in the college football playoff as a Big 12 team. Win or lose in your conference championship game. I think that's what we're seeing right now, right?
100% right.
Because the ACC is hot freaking garbage.
Was Duke going to win the ACC? Who's going to win that thing?
It's going to be Miami. Stop it. It's going to be Miami. But, yeah, how does Riley Leonard feel now? He's like, I'm at I go to Notre Dame and lose to Northern Illinois. By the way, Notre Dame is in every simulation, being in the
they'll
playoff.
be right back. They're still ranked in the top 15,
and they've bounced back quietly the last 2 weeks,
Yes.
very aggressively,
Yes.
right? So because
which should give Utah fans hope that the Utes can right the ship
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
a pitiful performance.
I think that's what
Saturday
you see too. By the way, in that simulation, BYU's the 10 seed. And that's the highest Big 12 team, by the way, in this simulation. And then Utah's 12. So they would have, but you know what that means? They've got BYU and Utah playing each other, the Big 12 championship game. Stop the freaking presses.
We need 2 rivalry games every year now?
Yeah.
We need 2?
You know what? I'm on board with Brett Yormark. Give me BYU or Utah in the conference championship game on a repeat play, on a repeat on a game that we can see again, and then also give me Colorado against either Utah or BYU in the Big 12 championship game. Please make it so. All right.
Now we can't get enough of Salami Karate
Salami Karate is a great coach
versus Kyle Cunningham.
Kyle Cunningham.
Like Freddie Willingworth or something a few months ago.
Freddie Willingworth?
I'll have to find. I played it for something earlier.
Please, we got to play. Any time that Brett Yormark mispronounces a significant member of the Big 12's name, we must hear it.
All right. We'll take the break. We'll come back. We've got more right around the corner. We've got our weekend warriors, folks who won the weekend here for us. We've got tons to break down next hour, too. We've got to get into that Utah-Arizona game from Saturday night. We've got audio from Coach Kyle Whittingham, from Mekhi Bernard, and also from Isaac Wilson. Stay with us, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it. Wow.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. Happy Monday to you. Our program is a lot of fun on Mondays during the college football season. Tons going on. Our Weekend Warriors is where we're at now. People who won the weekend here for us. Brought to you by Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, get seasonal maintenance done on your furnace. How about $59? See GilletteHVAC.com for details and to make an appointment. That's GilletteHVAC.com. All right. Crew Wakely has become quite the storyline for BYU. He had not just a sack, but also this moment against Baylor after the offense made the defense go back out and win the game for like the 4th time in a row. Here's what Crew Wakely did.
Robertson floats this ball sideline, intercepted. Crew Wakely brings it down. BYU with the takeaway. And it looks like they're going to get out of Waco unscathed.
Yeah, you know what? Crew Wakely's been awesome.
Great story.
But I think that all of this, these are all guys that I think people didn't allow themselves to think that Crew Wakely would be he was firmly planted on that list of guys last year that you're like, yeah, that's not really Big 12 depth. And so to see the way he's performing, have him have the type of year he's having, that's pretty phenomenal. He's a good player. Boise State's Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if you have been following this cat, but what is this? This is his 2nd game of the season that he's had over 250 yards rushing, right?
Yes.
So he's kind of top of the list of your Doak Walker possibilities here, but
he's the top.
He single-handedly.
He's Heisman worthy.
Yes, he single-handedly put it on Washington State, previously undefeated Washington State. Here's what it sounded like.
Gonna keep it on the ground with Genty on 2nd and 10. Look at him bounce off tacklers. Genty with some room. Genty has the speed. You call it long speed. We call it a touchdown. Ashton Genty, a 64-yard score. Give him 6.
26 carries, 259 yards. Not quite to that 10 yards per carry that I wanted him to be at. 9.9.
Just a little below the level you expected. So his numbers for the year, 845 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. He averages 10 yards per carry.
Yeah, like I said, you got to get that.
That's
get that
4 games.
4 games, 800 how many yards?
845. Guess who he plays this week?
Oh, Los Aggies. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, but the Aggies had a bye week. I think they're going to be fine. Are they up at Boise, though?
Yes.
Oh, boy. See, and when you just said that about Heisman worthy, Boise State is not going to have somebody who will be on a Heisman finalist list very often, okay? They are going to do everything possible in front of everybody possible against any team that they can to jack those numbers up. Am I wrong? That's how you do it.
You're not wrong.
That's how you do it. So they're going to hand the ball off to him 25 to 30 times, and he's going to get his 200-plus yards a game now. And Utah State is going to have to – now, I will say this. Washington State, one of the worst run defenses in the entire country. But it's still undefeated Washington State. That's a Pac-12 team right there. All right. Hey, future Pac-12 opponent for the Boise State Broncos. There you go. And then finally, over the weekend, I don't know if you knew this, but UNLV's quarterback last week quit. Did you hear this?
I had no idea. We haven't talked about that at all.
The quarterback who replaced him, Malik Williams,
is better.
Is a better quarterback. His team likes him more, and I love this story. And guess what? He showed up, and they absolutely put it on Fresno State.
1st and 10 from under center. Williams, interesting throw. It works. It's caught by Kaleo Balingai for the UNLV touchdown.
Don't you love that? Hey, announcer, will you settle down? I don't know who that was who was announcing it.
Interesting throw.
Oh, interesting throw, I guess. And I guess a touchdown? I mean, it's not conventional. I didn't really like it at all, but touchdown? Jeez, dude. Get the kid a break.
Interesting pass.
Yeah, for a touchdown, you weirdo.
How condescending was that?
I hated all of it, but you know what? 182 passing yards, 3 passing scores through the air, and then 1 on the ground, 119 yards on the ground, by the way.
59-14 against Fresno State. This is UNLV we're talking about. They're legit.
I love it. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's talk Utah next hour. We'll get right into it. Stay right here. Hey, Ute fans, don't hit the bricks already, all right? You'll be fine. We'll get into it next. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're locked into JJ and Alex.
Oh, yeah.
with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. He's Jeremiah Jensen. I'm Alex Curie. Thanks for being with us. Let me see here. Kicking off the hour, we got to get into this Utah-Arizona game from Saturday night. It was an absolute head-scratcher, and there were all sorts of things that you need to wonder about. The one that we don't really have that much control over, of course, is the Cam Rising health situation. And part of it is that I think that you're just so frustrated because you don't feel like you're getting the whole truth, which is what you felt like last year, right? So let's jump into the hour here. It's all brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody listening to this program who wants a quick, tasty, nutritious, and protein-packed boost. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods. All right, let's kick off the cut here. Let's get right into it here with Utah and their loss on Saturday night to the Arizona Wildcats.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. And this portion of the program brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships. Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. Visit the Doug Smith Dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug. As we watch this one go down, JJ, when Caleb Lohner caught his fourth catch of the year, third touchdown. Isn't that what the numbers are?
I think it's 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. Am I wrong?
I think he might have one extra. Either way, when he caught that easy-looking touchdown on that drive that made it 16-10, I don't know how much time was left on the clock exactly. I'm going to look at it. But everybody watching that game, including myself, thought, all right, now they're turning the corner here. The offense figured some things out. That score was so easy looking, right? We looked at it and went, all right, that's what you're going to do the rest of the way.
Right.
And instead, Arizona locks down their defense. Isaac Wilson throws his second pick of the game. And then Noah Fifita goes down and puts the dagger in the Utes with that, I think it was a 44-yard touchdown throw to his tight end, Burnett, who had a heck of a night because on a night where they were keying on Tech McMillan so closely, Burnett was quietly just absolutely having a night. And more head-scratching than all of this, JJ, because the Cam Rising stuff, we have no idea what's going on. And I'm not going to try to guess either. All right? The finger thing, I don't think we know what's going on, and I don't even know if Utah knows what's going on, to be honest. Feels very, very much like last year. But what I do know is the thing that was the most glaringly weird about this game is that Utah was beaten by another defense in their own house.
They got whipped at the line of scrimmage.
Arizona seemed bigger. They played bigger. They got pressure to Isaac Wilson. None of those things, by the way, happened on the flip side. Noah Fifita was sacked 0 times on the night. Utah, Isaac Wilson was sacked 3 times. And I know that's not a lot. That's not a lot. And you could maybe say, well, it's Isaac Wilson. He's a freshman. He's trying to figure out the timing, blah, blah, blah. Some of it was just straight up guys getting whipped at the line. And so for Utah to lose that game, to only score 10 points at home, to lose by almost 2 touchdowns, to not do anything on defense, it seemed like, that seemed to be working. They were mixing up pressures. They were doing all sorts of very Morgan Scally things. And yet somehow Arizona was absolutely ready. They were game planned. That bye week worked for them. The loss to Kansas State, I think, lulled everybody into sleep on this Arizona team. And I have no idea what Utah is right now. Because being defined by amazing defenses, great. You saw 2 weeks ago maybe one of the best performances against a Mike Gundy Oklahoma State team that we've ever seen on the defensive side of things, right? And then this week, I don't know what happened, but I will say this. There was way too much talk last week, on this show included, that was based around
Well, they're going to run it up or not? The Utes, that is. Well, because they were disrespected last year. Watch. And, I mean, when Friday comes around, when Football Friday rolls around, and we all have our predictions in front of us from last week, every one of us I'm pretty sure we all put Utah winning big over Arizona. It was just a question about how much. No one bothered to wonder if Arizona actually was a pretty decent team, and BYU fans probably shaking in their dadgum Ugg boots that they're going to be that they might lose that game against Arizona in 2 weeks. I don't know why I gave them Ugg boots, but I thought it was
They're good enough for Tom Brady. They're good enough for BYU fans.
Got that New Zealand
whatever.
sheepskin on the inside. All right, but
gotta wear something.
But what I'm saying is, I was absolutely blown away by this game on Saturday. Like, I was waiting for this thing to turn around. I thought it was going to turn around. Isaac Wilson did something that he hadn't done in his previous starts, which is actually got worse in the second half. We saw a guy settle in these other games, figure some things out, listen to his coaches. Andy Ludwig gave him the keys to the car and said, "What do you want to run?" And what happened? Utah got into a spot where they turned the ball over late, and Kyle Whittingham said, "I am not doing this. Run the dang football. Just put it on the ground." And it's hard to play from behind, trying to get those types of results, and leaning on the kid too much. And if the rumors are true about whether or not he only got to practice first team reps Thursday or Friday forward, that's bad. That's bad, and I feel bad for the kid because he's been asked to do some really weird stuff this first year that was supposed to be a dream for this guy when he was first getting his first starts. Instead, it's just been this weird herky-jerky. Are you starting? Are you not starting? Maybe. Yes. Here, get first-team reps. No, take second-team reps. An absolute mess right now up on the hill if you're a Utah fan.
It was a night game, 8:30 start. Utah was the 10th ranked team in the country. Arizona coming off a bad loss to Kansas State where they got absolutely embarrassed. Utah was supposed to be the bully on Saturday night. Utah was supposed to win with ease. We talked about Utah wanting to get retribution for the way they were disrespected.
It was about how much they were going to win
last year.
Yes.
Utah had every motivation, every reason to be their best on Saturday, and they stunk. Their coaching staff stunk, and the team stunk. And the fans sat there shocked. They weren't ready to play. Why? What was that? You look at Utah, and they weren't themselves. Who was the more physical football team? At Rice-Eccles Stadium, in the dark. Arizona?
Blackout game.
Are you kidding me?
10 points in a blackout game.
Arizona. Come on, man. Like, what happened? Every Utah fan deserves to be frustrated. And you could tell the frustration with the team. Mekhi Bernard was swearing in the post-game press conference. Kyle Whittingham, I haven't seen him that down in a while. Like, he was doing soul-searching during the press conference, talking about what they needed to do during the bye week, how hard they had to work. You know what? Good. Because this team wasn't ready, and they haven't been ready, to be quite honest. If we looked back at the first 4 games of the season, you would see samples of what we saw come to fruition on Saturday night.
Right.
What happened at Oklahoma State in the last 5 minutes? You're up 21-3, and you let them back in the game? That was weak. What happened to Baylor when one player gets injured and everything shuts down? What happened at Utah State when you're down 14-3 to a team that got the doors blown off of them by Temple? Okay, there's been signs that this team wasn't what we thought they were. And it was exposed on Saturday night by a team that was prepared, motivated, and ready. They outcoached and outplayed Utah. You look at the quarterback line, and this is another difference. And I don't do this to be negative towards Isaac Wilson. I think he got put in a really, really bad spot on Saturday, and he's going to have to take the brunt of that. But Noah Fafita, 19 of 31, 197 yards.
Yep.
2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a QBR of 80.4. Utah asked Isaac to throw the ball 40 times. A true freshman in a big game in conference play, they asked him to throw the ball 40 times. He was 20 of 40 for 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a QBR of 18.4. Ooh. But that's not all on him. Like, they put him in a really tough spot. And it really started in the first quarter. I think that game was over in the first quarter because the mental toll it put on Utah to see themselves get stuffed on 2 drives. Like, if you can't score against Arizona in your own house in those situations, what's going through your mind at that point? And there was an arrogance, I believe, that we're going to go for it on 4th and 2, and we're just going to enforce our will on them. Well, you didn't. But that's where experience comes in. There's 2 areas. There's 2 people that are missing on this team right now that are really hurting Utah. The first one's obvious. It's Cam Rising, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You don't have Cam. And I told you before, we talked about it with Sly on KSL Sports Live. We showed you last night what happened on that 4th down. They go for it. They had 14 personnel out there, and they try to run against a brick wall, and they slammed right into the wall. Because Arizona had 10 guys in the box. And you need to have somebody with experience at the quarterback position that can look and see what the personnel is there, check out of it, and change the play at the line of scrimmage, and have one of your tight ends go out in the flat and for a wide open touchdown pass. But Isaac just ran the play that they called him. And this is not Isaac's fault. Isaac's doing what he was told to do. Isaac, as a true freshman, is not in a position to check out of a play at the line of scrimmage in a big game. This is where the experience factor hurts you. And this is where the frustration I think fans have with Cam. It's like, this is a big game, and you're not playing because your finger doesn't feel quite right. Like, the fans are like, we need Cam. We need Cam. We were told this team was going to win the Big 12. Where is he? Where are you? And I understand the frustration. And I also understand that Cam's hurt. But are you hurt enough that you couldn't go out there and give an honest effort against Arizona? You're hurt that bad? Look at, did you watch that series Quarterback on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, do you watch what Kirk Cousins had to go through each and every week just to play a football game?
He was. I learned a lot about Kirk Cousins in that show.
We all did. And we learned a lot about the quarterback position, the toll it takes physically, the things you have to do to get ready to play a football game.
The mental prep is insane. The amount of preparation has to be done in these things. These guys are, they're borderline sports, they're football geniuses,
Right.
Be able to figure it out. But if you don't know if you're going to be playing,
it's not fair. It was not fair for Isaac, and it's fair at this point to question what's going on with Cam. I don't know. I'm not going to go on radio and say I know anything. I don't know anything, but it just doesn't feel square, right? And I think people are fair to start questioning what's going on.
Yeah.
You're not going to play in a big game like this because why? So that doesn't sit well.
Yeah. The term I am so sick of this. I am so sick of this Cam Rising situation. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that in the last 2 weeks.
From people that actually
people who are Utah fans, are season ticket holders, and they're sitting there going,
people that are actually inside the program.
And people inside the program. I'm so annoyed by this. I just can't. This is so bad. This is so annoying to go through. And you're going, yeah, but somebody's injured. Steve Bartle came on our show last week, and what he goes, look, what are you going to do? Cam's injured. And when a guy's injured, you can't just say, stop being injured, kid. The problem is
why I'm trying to be fair to Cam.
We got to understand. You got to understand what's going on.
And how serious of an injury is it? Because I've seen guys go out there and play with worse injuries.
Right.
So it's unfair what you're doing to Cam. It's unfair what you're doing to Isaac. And I think it's causing some issues. Another thing that Utah's dealing with is they're missing their quarterback on defense. Karene Reed has not played since early in the Baylor game, and it showed. Connor O'Toole is not out there getting after the quarterback.
Yeah.
And it showed. They're banged up a little bit. They're missing some key pieces, and it showed on Friday night. And the team that we saw on Friday night is not a top 10 team. That's not even a top 20 team, in my opinion. And they didn't look like it, and they didn't play like it. And what they have to do in this bye week is go back to the drawing board and figure out who they are and who they're going to be for the rest of the season. That includes coaches. They got to decide what are we going to be and what we want to do this year. Because right now, this is not who we thought we were going to be. This is not who fans and the media and everybody else thought we were going to be. Who are we? And how are we going to respond to this? Because it's not too late to still achieve all the goals they had set out. But I'm done talking about Utah being the Big 12 best team. I'm done talking about Big 12 championships. I'm done talking about the playoff until all this stuff gets sorted out and they go out and they play a complete game. They have not played a complete 4 quarters in 5 games.
So the stat that stood out the most to me, and I think if you're Kyle Whittingham, just knowing what he puts a premium on and knowing what his style is, we've watched it. To go for it on fourth down twice, 2 of those times being inside the 5-yard line of Arizona within the first 10 minutes of gameplay. They were 0 for 4 on fourth downs. Like, that is just, they were over 70% before they came into this game. Kyle Whittingham hangs his hat on being tougher than the team across from him, right? So converting a fourth down or 2 every game from 4th and 3, from 4th and 2 has been easy work for this team before. That glaring stat to me was one that you lost the physical battle. Not just bad play calling. It was you didn't win the trenches. So you get stopped on fourth down. One of them was that well-defended pass, right? That slant on the fourth down. And I don't know. I mean, I looked at it a couple times and I went, I don't know if I want to put that on Zach. He put it right on his guy.
Look, the
defender was right there.
At some point, it needed to become aware. Like the officials are allowing Arizona to play really physical.
There were a couple calls.
In the pass game,
there were a
right?
couple calls.
So you got to adjust to that, right? You got to adjust to that. Keep that in mind. You also trust that on the other side, you can be just as physical, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they were. Too many missed tackles, over pursuing. They just got a lot of stuff to clean up. And I'm coming off probably pretty negative here, but I think Utah fans are frustrated. I think people in that locker room are frustrated. And everybody expects better.
Okay. Got a couple pieces of sound here for you. Let's first go to Kyle Whittingham talking about the offense struggling and the issues that they had. And that was the thing that probably pissed him off the most, was how close they got to scoring and they didn't get anything out of it, not even field goals.
We got to be more efficient there. A couple picks, threw for almost 100 yards more than they did, but theirs were more timely. And again, we left things on the field in the red zone. You can't do that. You just can't do it. I can't say it enough times. And that was the biggest issue that we had, and it's shown up a few times this season now.
That's bad. That's kind of the identity is getting inside the 10-yard line and not converting. That's been a hallmark of what
every
Andy
good
Ludwig
Utah team would exert their will at the line of scrimmage.
The red zone was an automatic point scoring situation. Here's what he said about the status for Cam Rising and when they knew that he wasn't going to be able to go.
Really close. So if there is a silver lining here, we got a week off. Hopefully he's ready to go by then.
Hopefully.
That doesn't sound good, does it? Kind of did at the end.
The hopefully is the key word there.
Yeah.
Hopefully he got hurt against Baylor.
Yeah. They got to be sick. They got to be sick of it too, right? The coaching staff's got to be a little bit sick of like what the reality ends up being.
How do you manage this?
Yeah. It's bad. How much do you think they actually know about it? Did they demand transparency this year versus what they got last year, which was
what can they demand? It's just, it is what it is.
All right, let's take a listen to what Mekhi Bernard had to say about the game, and that's the guy who, by the way, was probably him and Dorian Singer, bright spots. 16 carries, 91 yards for Mekhi, but the thing that people remember is that getting stuffed at the 2-yard line, which again was just a math problem at the line of scrimmage. Here's what Mekhi Bernard said after the game.
Most definitely execution. We're just not executing well enough. We got the play calls. We just got to go on the field and execute. We're not doing that. I think that's going to be an emphasis for the next few weeks. We're at red zone. It should be emphasis because this is unacceptable for us. We should be up 21-3, and we weren't. So we just got to execute. We're about to go the next 2 weeks and deal with that.
All right, so there you go. That's the guy we get to talk to every week, and we'll talk to him again this week. I'm interested to see what the vibe is like inside that huddle. And then finally, Isaac Wilson, what he had to say about the turnovers. And there's a kid who's, of all the things that he's been learning, I think he does a good job of getting out in front and actually, owning all the stuff.
I know better on those interceptions. I know better. I shouldn't put the team in that situation. I felt like we were driving the ball up and down the field the whole time, run game, pass game, but we needed to execute in the red zone. I could have put the team in a better situation at some points, but it's a team game, so just got to execute.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. There was your audio from the University of Utah. We've got more to break down here. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's Cole Bagley of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. it's look, we just got through that whole Utah football situation. Left a bad taste in your mouth, maybe. So let's move over to something positive. The hockey team here in Utah is undefeated, JJ.
Yes, they are.
So if you're wondering about hockey. Yeah, there you go. Cole Bagley, our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com, joins us on the program right now. Every time he comes on with us, we'll remind you, guess what? You can win lunch from the KSL Sports Zone on Cafe Rio's Taco Tuesdays. That's tomorrow. Listen every Tuesday, and we'll be giving out a $20 Cafe Rio gift card as well. Learn more about Taco Tuesdays at CafeRio.com. Cole, what's going on, man? We're just getting down to your Christmas, which is October 8th.
Yeah, Santa's coming to town, or I should say the NHL is coming to town next week, which is like, I can't believe that it's here, but the team is doing well in the preseason, and things are moving right along in training camp. So, yeah, we're right in the thick of it, and we're about to really get started here. So it's very exciting.
3 games into the preseason, what stands out to you so far about this club? It's preseason in all sports are kind of like, whatever. What do you observe, and what are you looking for in the preseason in the NHL that tells you something about the team?
Yeah, I think it's like any preseason, but especially for this team this year, it's about seeing how these new names, these new faces fit in. It's been a really good kind of not trial period, but opportunity for Sergachev to assert himself, to show what he's capable of, how he fits in with this roster. And talking to Coach Bear today, he said there's been a lot of progression from Sergachev in just the last couple games, from game 1 to last night, where they were able to dominate Colorado. A lot of that had to do with Sergachev and his ability to create offensively. That's part of why the club went and made sure that they got him, and they were willing to give up some assets to go get him, is because he's not only a great defenseman, but he's a defenseman that can help you create opportunities offensively. He had 2 assists last night, and so demonstrating some really talented offensive skill. So overall, it's just about seeing how are the guys meshing, and then of course it is a actual trial period for some guys. There's a couple players on this roster currently that are battling for a spot, and a couple of those guys are going to be cut. They made more cuts the last few days, so they're down to 36, and they got 13 more to go. So just overall, just a big kind of test it out, try it out period.
As you look at this roster and however it's going to shape up, again, this is one of those things that I think a lot of listeners are getting used to, is just the idea that you draft a bunch of young guys and they're going to stay young in the system for a while. But what are the possibilities of guys like TJ Ginla, Cole Baudouin, guys who get drafted early and have a ton of potential? What's their role going to be early on, and how long until fans can actually see these guys on the ice? Is that going to have to be a 2025 question, or 2026 question, or next season essentially, right? Or is it more of a, hey, maybe by the end of the season we'll see these guys getting some minutes?
Yeah, it's completely dependent on a couple things. I mean, first of all, it's dependent on how good are they right now, and these are 2 really talented players. Both Baudouin and Iginla are very, very talented. The coaching staff has liked what they've seen, but they're not. They weren't guys that went first overall. They're not the Celebrini or the Bedard that are the obvious choice for number 1 and are coming into a situation where they're going to get minutes right out the gate. I mean, Celebrini to San Jose. San Jose was the worst team in the league last year, and with Chicago and Bedard the year before that, pretty much the same situation. Just guys that are without a doubt the best player in the draft and that deserve to be playing in the NHL right away. These 2 players, I don't think Baudouin was already sent back to his junior team. I expect the same thing from Teej. That's not a knock on them at all. I mean, it is a completely normal thing, normal process in the NHL to draft players, and then it takes 2 or 3 years to get them up to speed. I mean, we're seeing that with Dylan Gunther. This is a guy that was drafted in 2021. It's now 2024, going into 25. And he's about to play his first full season with the Utah Hockey Club, a full 82-game slate, and he just earned himself a major contract. So it generally takes a couple years for these guys to get up and running. And then the other thing that it's dependent on is, what's this team doing late in the year? Are they in the playoff hunt? Or are they not in the playoff hunt? The whole reason Josh Doan and a couple other guys saw time last season is because Arizona was out of the race, in March, essentially. So it's dependent on those things. Looking at this year, I don't think we're going to see a Ginla or Baudouin, simply based off the fact that this team is a lot better. They're a very deep team. There's NHL veterans that are battling for spots, and so for recent draftees to get time, I just don't foresee it happening, especially expecting that this team is going to be competing for a playoff spot. Not necessarily guaranteeing a playoff spot, but they should be in that race all year.
The more I observe and watch Andre Tourigny, the more respect I have for him as a coach and a man. You shared a quote on social media today that you observed from during a drill. You said, quote, he said, "Not stopping until they get it right. We're not doing effing summer hockey." And I envisioned him saying that in his French Canadian accent, and I'm just like, this guy's awesome. You've had a lot of time to spend around him. You've observed him coaching. What are your observations about him as a coach and a leader of this team?
I mean, you should have heard him say it, because we were actually at the Delta Center, so it shook the whole building when he said it, and everybody kind of turned, and we're all like, "Oh, he's not kidding." Coach Bear is awesome. He demands respect. He's straightforward. He doesn't beat around the bush. Like, he tells you how it is, and the guys respect him for it. All these guys really appreciate his honesty, because at the end of the day, it helps you. These guys know exactly what they need to do. They know exactly how they need to make the roster, and they know exactly how he expects them to play. He doesn't try to sugarcoat anything. It's straightforward. It's in your face. And every guy that I've talked to about it, they've said that they love Coach Bear. I think, like you said, he's a great person, but he's also a coach. He's a head coach. He knows how to connect with people on and off the ice, and those things are different. And so, he's great. I think he's going to have a big opportunity this season. He's going to be in the Coach of the Year running, just simply based off the fact that this is the best team that he's had an opportunity to coach, and they could be making a huge leap from where they've been the last 4 or 5 seasons in terms of making the playoffs. And so I think, if they're winning 45 plus games and they're making the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Bear winning the Coach of the Year.
Cole Bagley, our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com. Okay, so after the preseason games that you've seen, and obviously they take a look at a lot of things across the board. You have to prioritize development, and or you have to at least have a balance of your priorities of trying to get your guys ready for the season and trying to get some development going on. And so, what is the thing that maybe we learned out of the preseason so far that's been either eye-opening or something that you looked at and went, you know what, this team may be better than we had thought? We had Bill Armstrong last Thursday on the program, and he's like, yeah, let's look at that kind of 5-year plan. Like, I think we'll be playoff ready in 5 years, and then we're going to be in that window of legitimately being contenders for the Cup. And I thought, well, that's awesome, and that's also 5 years away. So what do we know about this team right now and how long it's going to take to develop these guys?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is that they are ready to take kind of that next step, that next phase in the rebuild process. Take the Utah Jazz, for example. They're in phase 1, right? Like, they might be kind of starting to step into like the second half of phase 1, but they're early in that rebuild. The Jazz are, they've acquired draft assets, and they're starting to bring those guys in. The Utah Hockey Club has already completed that phase. I mean, it's still ongoing. They still have more draft picks and whatnot, but the early beginnings of drafting those guys and those guys starting now to develop, that's past. Like, we've got, Dylan Gunther and Logan Cooley and Josh Doan, like, Tejan Ginla and Baudouin are coming on the tail end of that. So they've found those prospects, and these guys are starting to come into their own. So that's why they went and made some of these trades. Is they went, okay, we're a couple seasons into this. We've got Cooley and we've got Gunther. They're now playing for us. We've got our young talent that's developed out of the draft. We're still going to keep doing that, but now we can take the next step and go and trade for guys that are going to help us win right now and help us step into that next phase of, okay, we're no longer, a bottom tier team. We're moving more into that middle of the pack team, a team that's going to compete every night, that's going to be tough to play and just might surprise you to make the playoffs. And I think that's what we've seen in the preseason. I have to take everything with a grain of salt, of course. Last night, they beat Colorado, and Colorado didn't have any of their star players. They sat all four of them. So take it with a grain of salt. But I liked what I've seen so far because it looks like the next step is underway. With Dylan Gunther scoring 2 goals last night and Sergachev really coming around after a few games. He seems to be more comfortable. He seems to be more settled in. I mean, the guy had a couple of assists. And so you're seeing kind of the vision of what the front office saw and the potential for this season. And so, I mean, I would expect that maybe this season they start that consistent visit to the playoffs. Maybe this is the year where they're making the playoffs every season for a couple years, and they're losing the first and the second rounds, but they're starting to get that playoff experience. And then maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road, okay, now we're a team that's consistently considered for the Western Conference, and then a year or two after that, maybe they're a consistent contender for the Stanley Cup. That's kind of where I see it. But whatever Bill says, that guy is. He's very wise. He's very good at his job, and so take what he says. He does a good job.
Cole, we'll see you over at the Delta Center for some, and I'll pay for your $3 hot dog. Might even throw in for a $3 nacho as well. So if you play your cards
I might
right,
just throw it in the trash, but
whatever, dude. Those are.
It's not that personal to you. I just don't know how good a $3 hot dog is really going to be.
Look at where we've gotten. Well, there's a $1.50 hot dog right up the street from me that I love at Costco. So double the price.
What they should do is just go buy those and resell them in the arena.
There you go. They make profit.
They bring the Costco hot dog in and resell it.
They'd make money.
Yeah, man. I love it. All right, Cole Bagley, Utah Hockey Club Insider. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again. We're going to chat with you every Monday at 4:30, so thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, I think you and I are going to hang out a whole bunch on Thursday.
Yeah,
too.
man.
There you go.
We're doing the Hockey Roundtable on Thursday down at the shops in Southtown.
Yeah, my goal by the end of that is to completely push JJ out, and it'll be Cole and Alex.
Hey, there's a Costco close to that place down in Sandy. I'll get you a $1.50 hot dog.
There you go. And by the way, Cole, I fired myself today, so there's an open position here.
You can't do any worse than that. Come on.
The job is open for Cole and Alex has a nice ring to it.
There you go. All right, Cole, we'll chat with you on Thursday, man.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. Cole Bagley. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. You're not allowed to fire yourself. We've got important work to do, JJ.
I'm going to pull a Woj.
just start.
I'm done.
Hey, I'm done, and I've taken a new position with UVU.
You know what actually I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you I'm coming to work, and then I'm just going to walk right there to the door and just stand there and watch you do the show with somebody else.
I'll go, let's open up the phone lines here. If you want to say you wanted to make peace with how bad JJ was during his time here, I would make up all sorts of lies about you just to get you back on the air to have to deny them, okay?
There you go.
All right, we'll take the break. We'll come back. We've got ourselves I want to talk more Utah stuff. I've got more Utah things on my mind, okay, that I want to float past.
Let's let it all out today. Let's get it out today so we can filter out the bye week and get fresh for Arizona State.
I'm all for it. Let's get to it. More to go right around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for being with us. Each week on the KSL Sports Zone, of course, we give away tickets on a Wednesday. We call it a Win Ticket Wednesday because you win tickets on Wednesday. This week, pair of tickets to Breaking Benjamin. It's going to be out at the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on October 5th. We better win those and give them away quick because that's going to be this week, man. It's October tomorrow, by the way, JJ.
It is October.
BYU and Utah going into bye weeks this week. Utah State just had their bye week. And we're looking at game number 6 coming up for all of these teams. It's wild. The season goes quickly, and yet there's so much football still yet to be played. Is there a version of this Utah team being a Big 12 championship type team if Cam Rising isn't a part of it?
No.
All right.
No.
Back to you, Jeremy.
What did we just see on Saturday night?
I know, but I'm just saying, is there
you think they're going to get healthier as the season goes along?
It's not about health. It's not about Cam. It's not even.
It's about experience.
But
it's about
also,
guys that have been there and know what they're doing in certain situations. It's situational football, just like Kyle talked about.
What if the defense figures it out, so to speak?
And it's going to keep them in games. I mean, 23 points. They only allowed 23 points to an Arizona team that's really explosive. How many catches and yards did Ted McMillan have?
Oh, it was like 8 for
6 catches, 50 yards.
Yeah.
His long was 13.
They put a hat on him.
They did a great job.
Yeah. What was the Burnett kid,
wasn't
though?
the problem.
What did the Burnett kid
Well,
have?
he got him for 5 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That, they weren't ready. But did he kill him? I mean, should Utah have not been able to score more than 23 points at home?
They didn't. I mean, this was not even. This is an Arizona team that couldn't put up 400 yards in the first half if they want, and they didn't even get to 400 on the night, right? So it's still a good team. I think the 2 giveaways were backbreakers, right? The real backbreakers were being stopped at the 3-yard line twice, and once.
Mentally, the first quarter had a big impact on them.
I mean, so that happened to Utah State, what was it, 2 weeks ago at Temple, right?
Yeah.
Where they go inside the 5-yard line twice, don't even get a touchdown, don't even get a field goal.
Utah State's one of the worst red zone teams in the country, by the way. Utah's not as bad as Utah State. They're only 88th in the country.
By the way, that's they hang their hat on red zone production, and that's why, and on defense, right? So
they
on the flip
are
side,
tied for 87th right now, and that includes the first 2 games when they actually did a good job in the red zone.
Right.
They have not been very good the last 3 games.
Yeah. So I just was wondering if there's a version of this team with Isaac Wilson running at the helm, running the offense, if in his freshman season he's able to get them to the Big 12 championship game still. It changes the entire season.
It could happen, sure. I think they've got to have some guys offensively step up, and obviously Mekhi Bernard's got to be a focal point. I don't think Mekhi got enough carries on Saturday night.
No, 16 carries, 91 yards.
Right.
Like, that's over 6 per.
What was his average per? It was
5.7 or something like that. It's over whatever Kyle Whittingham. That's more, and it's all stuff that, by the way, BYU fans are like, give us a running back, right? That's what BYU fans saying. And Utah has one, and I don't think they fed him the ball enough. Instead, now you're going to throw the ball more with a freshman quarterback when you're trying to.
I understand the circumstances. You were down 16-3 at one point. You're probably going to have to throw the ball a lot more. But, again, did you need to panic and just throw the ball a lot more?
Yeah.
They should have really tried to pound the ball, like, right out of the gate, third quarter. Just start running like crazy. They needed to take pressure off of Isaac. And I don't think at any point in that game did they not do that, because Isaac felt pressure throughout the game.
Yeah, he got hit hard a couple times,
too. In a lot of different ways, right?
Even if he wasn't getting sacked, the QB hurries, he'd take hits on.
You got a true freshman quarterback out there, and the stakes are high. This is a Big 12 conference game in the dark. The crowd's going nuts, and I'm sure the environment's great for most players, especially players that run on adrenaline. But when you're a quarterback and you're in that environment, I mean, it can be a little unsettling, even in your own house. And that's why experience matters so much. How many teams out there would feel confident trying to win at a high level with a true freshman quarterback? How many?
Yeah, not many.
Exactly. So why should Utah feel that way? They shouldn't. You need Cam Rising out there. if you have Cam Rising. If you don't, then accept that you don't and get Isaac ready every week and really lean on the strengths that you have a senior running back who is carrying you this year. Give him the rock. Take the pressure off. Find ways to take the pressure off your freshman quarterback. Don't put him in tight spots. I respect that they respect his ability. But you saw what's happened when he's going to make mistakes. He's made mistakes in all 3 starts. And that's normal, and that's to be expected, and that's okay.
Right.
But you need to try to minimize those opportunities and lean on your strengths. And right now, offensively, you got a running back who's one of the best in the country. You need to go back to that and go back to who you really are. 40 tosses for a true freshman quarterback in a game like that's too many.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more. We're going to fire it up here. Hey, speaking of hope springing eternal, it was Jazz Media Day today. So exciting. We've got some sound to hear from the players, some coaches, from some of the front office guys. You got Danny Ainge, you got Will Hardy, some Justin Zanuck sound as well. So let's jump in next hour here. We'll get into Utah Jazz Media Day. By the way, yes, game number 1 of the preseason is on October 4th. That's this week, everybody. Let's go. We'll come back. More to go right around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme.
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex. Hey, is that the first time we've been able to play our NBA rejoin in quite some time?
It's been a minute. Welcome back, NBA.
Yeah, Round Ball Rock.
Welcome back, Utah
now,
Jazz.
I'm not going to play the revamped Round Ball Rock, by the way, like the... Is this honestly like a level on Guitar Hero? That's what it sounds like. Like they redid it just to be able to go, let's go guitar heavy on this one because we want to put it on Guitar Hero 9.
But they don't have any license for any good music, so they just have to play this.
So they have to do this.
It's all made up stuff that's junk.
No more Slash.
No.
Just have to. We got Round Ball Rock. John Chess said he'd be willing to sell it to us for pretty cheap.
John Tesh is... It's been a while since he's had a hit. He needs to make some extra money.
Hey, he's the one who tweeted it out and said, I got a new deal with NBC. Woo. I don't know why I made him sound like a ghost, but woo. Hey, Jazz fans, we're back. It's Media Day. So exciting. Guess what? We have some actual sound from actual Jazz Media Day. And if you, I don't know, like we've been having so much, college football talk, NFL obviously this time of year. And then we've just been, this is a brand new offseason for us when it comes to covering the Utah Jazz because we've never covered an NHL team at the same time. And so we've been like, I don't know, do you feel like we've been neglecting the Jazz in our minds? Do you think fans in their heads are having a hard time carving out time for the Utah Jazz?
No, I think
you can do all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Especially when you know what the real true expectations of this Jazz team are. And I think that table has been set by management on Friday. We know going in what this is going to be.
No. It's like BYU in the Big 12. Oh, just hope to, just finish around 500. I don't know. They're not going to be anywhere near 500. But maybe the expectations of, because what's the over-under right now? It's like 24.5 games, something like that. It's pretty low. So look at what it is. Well, yeah.
Are they starting Patty Mills at center?
Oh, boy. I forgot that the Jazz picked up Patty Mills after the Olympics. Was Cat available for this team, too? Do you think they were working on a little
Not sure that's the big game hunting that the Jazz were looking for.
That wasn't the big game. It's an actual animal, a big cat. So what did you say it was, Jeremy?
29.5.
That. Where's the under button? I'm trying to hit it.
Do you want to know what the Nets under is at some places?
What is it?
The New Jersey Net, Brooklyn Nets, excuse me.
Oh yeah, what is it?
19.5.
Wow, so they're going to put the Nets at 10 games fewer that they're going to win compared to the Jazz. I don't know, because what did they end up losing last year? They went 32 and whatever the rest of that is. 32 and 50, right?
Yeah.
So the team went 32 and 50. I don't know what the expectations are for fans. You talked about expectations. Well, and the Jazz, by the way, this will be...
It was 31 and 51 to be specific.
Oh, sorry, 31 and 51.
Who's counting, though?
Just all the fans. And the Jazz, by the way, have picked up Will Hardy's extension. That's good news. I think that he's the guy to lead the Jazz. It's been a rough couple of years, though. This is his third year. It might be the most rough, right? I mean, we're staring down a thin era of talent here at the Utah Jazz. And I think that we're hanging our hat on Lauri Markkanen as being the superstar of this team. You're excited because you have Jordan Clarkson still on this roster, right? What are the things that you get excited about with this team, JJ?
That they're finally starting a rebuild. It feels like they were 1 foot in, 1 foot out the last couple of years.
Yep.
Trying to figure it out. I think we all knew they weren't going to be good 2 years ago, but Will Hardy's a great coach, and they didn't know just how good of a roster they acquired through the 2 trades. And same thing happened last year. They acquired some guys that really stepped up and played really well. And they're like, oh, they can't have this. We better move them at the deadline. But you can't. But I'm joking, of course.
I'm joking.
I'm joking. Give me that. They know who they are now. They know they're going to suck. All right? Let's be honest, right?
Come on.
Youth movement. How many young players do you have on your rotation? What's the average age of this roster? It's not very high, right? So there's just no way. You can roll any combination of lineups out there, and you can try your best every night, and you're not going to win games simply because of youth. You just don't have the experience to go out there and win games at the highest level in the NBA because there's so many teams out there that have so much experience combined with the talent.
Yeah.
You're just naturally, when you're this young and this inexperienced, you're going to lose games. I don't care if you got a Lauri Markkanen and a Colin Sexton on the team, which, by the way, I hope both of those guys are part of their long-term plans. But for right now, today, the Jazz stink, and that's okay. This is part of the process. They need to go find a star that's going to help them win a championship.
So a question was asked to Justin Zanuck at Media Day, and it was about the big game hunting question. And here's what Jay-Z said about the offseason and the looking around and the coming up empty, at least for some big names. And here's what he said about it.
You guys have seen how things evolve in an offseason, whether it's this one, the future ones. You can just take a look at what transactions actually transpired in the rest of the league. I think you know with this organization that we are extremely aggressive with pursuing any and all means necessary to make this a championship caliber roster. When those opportunities come up, we're ready for them. There weren't any. And so to sit there and not do anything, we've decided our plan was to completely throw our focus into our young guys and the best player on our roster in Lauri Markkanen. Lauri helps our young players develop. He's a developing leader. He's a guy that you can't have just a bunch of young guys trying to raise themselves. I think you've heard the quote, pups can't raise pups. So when that became apparent that we couldn't find the right pairings to add to Lauri, which we were going to do no matter what, we have to pivot the other way and develop our young guys. And that's a reflection of the market, not a reflection of what do we want to do or we're not sure. You know, we've always had a plan, no matter what anybody said, is to develop this roster into a championship caliber one. And this is the best way to do it.
All right. So there's part of what the plan is. Here's more of that plan of how to get better, because this is a very, very young team. I don't know about talented yet, but there are quite a few names on the list that we don't know really what to expect out of them, but certainly Justin Zanuck says the talent is going to get better, and they've got a plan how to do it.
We're probably not going 6-6, but can we develop core pieces of this team and then with all of our other assets add, or maybe something else develops or some free agent or things, it's going to be a path. So that's part of the entire plan, is why we're investing in all of our young guys right now, to give them the best opportunity to grow, to develop, so we can make some decisions. But those decisions don't have to come after the first year, the second year, the third year. We have plenty of time that way. We just have to put in the work.
Yeah, just put in the work. JJ, come on.
Figure it out.
That's it.
Figure it out. That's all I have to do. Just put in the work.
Essentially, the Jazz are in a waiting game, right?
Yep.
They're in a waiting game. So I don't have an analogy for you here. I don't. It is what it is. They're waiting for either A, winning the lottery and getting that star young player, Cooper Flagg or whatever it's going to be. This draft is going to be amazing. It really is. There's some really, really good players in this next draft, and the Jazz are going to get one of them. Or you wait for that blockbuster deal to materialize where you can go out and get a disgruntled star, or some team has decided that they're not contending anymore and they just decide to fold up and send out their stars. You're waiting for one of two things or both. That's it. It's a waiting game. And until then, this is who the Jazz are, and this is what we're going to watch.
I wonder too. I wonder if, Justin Zanuck, if there were moments like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what our obsession is with it's like, well, did you make some calls? Have you been doing your homework? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how people are? They go, well, he didn't go big game hunting. What's going on?
That guy works 70 or 80 hours a week on the phone.
Okay. Here's Danny Ainge talking about the experienced players, helping out the young guys. That's obviously the plan this year.
Yeah, and I would just say the other veterans that we have on the team, we talked about Lowry, but Colin and Jordan and John Collins, like those guys are good players. And so, we make it sound like they're just going to be coaching our young guys, but no, they're going to go out and play and, show everybody how to play. And it's always good for a coach to have those veterans they can lean on to show the young guys how to play and teach them, because our young guys have a lot to learn. We talk about development a lot. Development is big, but the biggest thing in development is learning. And if you don't have people that can show the example on the court during games and in practice every day, then it's hard to learn.
Oh, my goodness. We just got some wild news. You want to hit the breaking news sounder here, Jeremy? This just happened moments ago, at least that we were informed of moments ago. Let's go to the baseball breaking news desk. I thought initially it was going to be an update on the National League playoffs, JJ, but there's some more intense news.
I mean, I will give you that update in a minute, but we just received news that Major League Baseball legend Pete Rose has died at the age of 83. Yahoo Sports, TMZ, multiple sources reporting that Pete Rose dead at the age of 83.
Wow. Of course, lightning rod issue for the game of baseball. Pete Rose, by far the leading hit leader all time for Major League Baseball. By the way, that record will never be touched, right?
No, it will not.
And frankly, when my dad talked about baseball players, like you talk about a guy that played a sport as hard as you could. Pete Rose ran like Isaiah Pacheco ran before Isaiah Pacheco was even thought of as a person, right? I mean, like you talk about hardcore baseball player. And, of course, the lightning rod issue that comes with betting on baseball, whether or not he'd ever be able to get into the Hall of Fame. Certainly he won't be around to be able to see that moment happen. But, yeah, Pete Rose, 83 years old. Did they say anything else? It was just like the family made an announcement and that was
That's it. It was just reported by multiple media outlets now that he passed away earlier today at his home in Las Vegas, and the family's asking for privacy. That's it.
Does Pete Rose end up getting into the Hall of Fame?
Never.
Is there a pact that these baseball commissioners end up making? Like, hey, because who was it that
he violated the integrity of the game?
Yes. I'm trying to think because who was the commissioner before Bud Selig?
Bart Giamatti.
Giamatti was the one.
Is that what you're talking about, or
I think it was even. It was Roselle, wasn't it? And he was the one who was like, never going to happen. And I think that there was this idea that over time, like, no, we're all passing. That's the thing we pass down to one another is that we make sure Pete Rose doesn't get into the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if that's just a decision that the Baseball Writers of America makes.
Wasn't it Commissioner Vincent? Fay Vincent. Yep.
Fay Vincent.
He was only the commissioner for 3 years from 1989 to 92. Baseball went 6 years without a commissioner, which is weird, right?
Yeah, Faye Vincent was the one.
Yeah.
And does Rob Manfred, because he's the guy now, right? And
yes,
it's just it's a tough deal because, like, Pete Rose's numbers are insane. But are you saying it more like you hope he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame because of what he did?
I don't think that the gambling stuff and what happened there, and then what happened afterwards, and his inability to show any remorse or conceit for what he did. He never once said, "I did this. I made a mistake. I'm wrong, and I'm going to suffer forever." He never acknowledged his mistakes. He always tried to maintain that he never did anything wrong. I mean, clearly he did. They had evidence of it, and so that was disappointing the league. I think obviously he had some character issues, which, you know what, there's probably half the Hall of Fame does too, right? So
I was going to say baseball.
Come on now, but that's but.
And those are typically
things, a level of egregiousness with what he did.
Yeah.
When you do anything that would compromise the integrity of the game, then you have. I mean, look what the NBA just banned somebody for life from the NBA just this year.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't do that. You can't go there.
Was it the second time that he was busted for betting on games that he was playing in too?
Yeah,
something along those lines. Yeah, either way.
That's right, Jonte Porter.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's sad because he's one of the all-time greats, and he holds a really, really incredible record, but there's all the other stuff too. So baseball's never really going to be able to celebrate what he accomplished as a player in the form of being in the Hall of Fame.
4,256 hits. Insane. When you consider that, like, if you're even close to 3,000 now, you're probably in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah. That's like if you get to the 3,000 hit club, you're in.
Yeah. 1,300 RBI over his time. He scored 2,200 runs. And I think that he's one of those guys, too, that I'm trying to figure out what his actual I don't know what his career batting average was here. Let me look here. Oh, career batting average. Any guesses?
340?
Oh, it'd be really high. But no, it's over 300. It's 307.
Okay.
Really good. I mean, that's insane. To do it as many times, to do it as long, the guy had 14,000 at bats.
Wow.
And got more than 4,200 hits, So, yeah. He certainly was one of those guys that anytime that he was on TV, I made sure to tune in. He's the all-time leader in hits, at bats, games played by a long shot. Yes. He had a 24-year. I mean, I watched Pete Rose on TV when I was a kid, right? Because he retired in the 80s.
Right.
And this is also a guy who would basically play 162 games almost every year.
That's why they called him Charlie Hustle.
Yeah.
He played the game as hard as he could.
Yeah. And then plate appearances, he had almost 16,000 in his career. Yeah, Pete Rose. 83 years old, passed away today. There you go.
Of course, this comes on the heels of learning this morning that Dikembe Mutombo has passed away.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later on in the show.
Also,
but yeah, there's also some other baseball news. Should I share that as well?
Might as well, because I think everything's kind of figured out with the playoffs now.
So it is all set. So for those of you who haven't been able to watch, or we're at work and weren't able to see, the National League wild card races now finished. 2 teams qualified today. It is the Mets and the Braves. They split their doubleheader, so that means both teams are in. The Arizona Diamondbacks, soon to be Utah Diamondbacks, are out.
Did you say soon to be? I knew that you glazed past that pretty quickly.
I did glaze that. I slipped that in there, didn't I?
I'm okay with it. I'll allow
we'll
it.
See.
I like it.
We had the same thoughts about. There's no way. There's no way.
But you know what you got to do.
There's no way the Arizona Coyotes are going to come here. There's no. How can we get? How is that going to happen?
Then you go like this. Oh, so what we do is we start a negativity campaign on the.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, you go. Oh, you guys didn't make the playoff. Didn't you guys go to the World Series last year? And it was the cheapest ticket in the history of the World Series.
You have stadium problems? Well, we're ready to build one here in Utah.
You couldn't put fans. You couldn't put fans and butts in the seats. I don't know if you know this. We got a shovel-ready situation over here. And if you're a big fan, of power alleys and baseball fields, how about a power district? You can start hitting some home runs right here on Electric Avenue. Come on. There's no freaking way they can call it anything but Electric Avenue, right?
Has to be.
Like, you put some shops on there.
If you're going to build the stadium in the power district, you have to have an electric avenue.
Some neon signs. Very bright. This is an underrated song. I love this tune. And then we'll take it higher. All right, we're going to take a break. This is about the weirdest segment we've had in a long time. We start off with Jazz Media Day. Pete Rose dies during the segment. And then we end up with trying to woo the Diamondbacks in with Electric Avenue.
It's Monday. What
there
can I say?
Lots going on. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Our show is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. I'll try to sneak in some Will Hardy audio at some point from Media Day today. But we've got lots that we can get through during the week as well. So stay right here with us. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Jeremiah, Jensen, Alex, Curie, together we form the team that is JJ and Alex. Oh, man, another weekend of the NFL, another weekend of head-scratching results. Looking at you, New York Jets.
Ugh.
Hey, but you know what? Your Broncos, huge win. They just blew up on offense, and congrats to you guys.
They blew up Aaron Rodgers. How many times did they sack him? The Jets stink. I told you in the offseason. These people saying, oh, Jets are going to make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is back. The Jets are going to go to the playoffs. No, they're not. They stink.
Well, they stunk this weekend. That's for dang sure. And I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know what the reality is for Aaron Rodgers, but doesn't he just look like a guy that nobody likes on the team?
Yeah.
Except for Alan Lazard. That Aaron Rodgers has been single for a long time. He always gets close to getting married. He should marry Alan Lazard because I think that's the only person on earth who still likes him. So I don't know.
I don't think Aaron likes Aaron. Yeah, he seems pretty miserable, and he should be. It's a rough situation.
Well, are you one of those guys that sees the Jets and goes, no, they'll turn it around? Because when you have to dedicate a good 2 or 3 minutes to talking about cadences in your postgame, Robert Saleh, your team sucks, brother.
Yep.
Oh, no, well, we've got to figure, well, the cadences weren't a problem in camp. Do you think any NFL team ever has had to have a discussion about cadences at press conferences and are doing well? No. So there you go. You've got your guy, Aaron Rodgers. He got to shake hands with Zach Wilson before the game at midfield.
I saw that exchange. It was nice.
Good for them.
Sure, they have plenty of memories to go back over. And
did they do? I'm
sure it was sentimental.
Did they do the mouth covering thing?
There was no mouth covering.
Hey man,
no secrets.
Robert Saleh, what do you think about him? That's a team that's in disarray, and I love it. I'm here for all of it. Okay,
and I'm happy that Zach's out of there.
Look, the NFL's so unpredictable, but the Jets you can always predict are just going to be awful. It's like the one thing. Cliff Kingsbury, by the way, he's the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, and they just beat the Cardinals 42-14. My question is are the Washington Commanders going to go to the gosh dang Super Bowl this year?
I got to give a shout out to Stevenson Sylvester, who was all over Washington. So they're going to be better. I was like, come on, man. Rookie quarterback? No way. They're good. They're good, and they believe. And Jaden Daniels is giving them what they need at the quarterback position. They haven't had a quarterback this good since Joe Theismann. You know what I mean? Like, name a great Washington quarterback.
Doug Williams. Come on.
Yeah, in 1987.
Mark Rippon? Yeah, he won a Super Bowl.
1992. Keep going.
Well, those guys are...
This century? Oh, you get throw out RG3 before they ruined him there. That's it, right? They haven't had a good quarterback in a long time.
You said since Thiesman, so I went for the guys who are younger than Thiesman. Yeah, but you're right, though. You're right.
Even Joe Theismann was cursed. Had his legs snapped in half on Monday Night Football.
We didn't need to hear that. He did have that one. He did have the classy one-bar face mask, though, which I still love.
Yeah. What happened to those? Bring those back.
I want kickers to start wearing them again. I don't think that they allow it.
I want position players to wear them. I'm talking about kickers.
They remember the kickers who used to be
yeah.
They'd wear them and then they'd pull it all the way down,
so
and you're like,
see.
My gosh, you guys are wild. All right,
Garo Yepremian.
Wow,
how's that for a name?
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer with us, by the way.
No, jeez. Okay.
Of course, he looked like he was 50 when he played in the 70s.
Was he one of those barefoot guys too? So we go the single bar, and the barefoot. No. All right. Packers quarterback Jordan Love comes back from the MCL, but the Packers. I don't feel. You know what? I don't think it's the Packers' problem, dude. It's the Minnesota Vikings who are just on this insane tear. I get it. Love threw 4 touchdowns. He also threw 3 interceptions. But the Vikings are maybe the most surprising team I've ever watched in my lifetime compared to the expectations of what people had for them.
That's fair.
I mean, like, we were supposed to be talking about the Vikings being dead last in the NFC North. It was going to be the Lions or the Packers to lose.
And the Bears would be
improved. Bears would even be better than the Vikings. And instead, your guy, Sam Darnold, leading these Vikings to another victory. So there you go.
And Sam Darnold looks like an MVP candidate.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I am absolutely shocked.
We all are.
Locals in the NFL. Fred Warner had a pick 6 in the win over the Patriots. They blasted New England. Taysom Hill had 2 touchdowns. This is a guy who was in the hospital, last week or the week
2 weeks
before?
ago with a bruised lung.
Right. Bruised lung. That sounds so fake. But if you're going to take Taysom Hill out of a game, that's probably
why
the
you
only
had to go
thing
to the
you can
hospital.
I know.
If you have internal organs that are bruised, that's a problem.
That just
That's
sounds
not
like something
good.
It just sounds like something my kid would make up to not go to school. Oh, I think my lung's bruised. Excuse you?
Well, he got hurt again.
He did.
So,
What happened? It was a rib injury,
looks
right?
like a rib injury.
Dang it.
So he can't stay healthy.
All right.
Taysom plays hard.
Okay, can we talk about Kyle Van Noy now?
Let's
as
do.
a possibility of him being, because I think that, I don't know how many sacks he has. It was 6?
He has 6 this season.
Okay.
He has 2 in each of the last 3 games.
So 6 puts him firmly in second place in the entire league behind Aiden Hutchinson, right?
Yes. Elite company.
And Kyle Van Noy is like supposed to be old and busted, kind of slowing the old career down.
A year ago, he wasn't even signed.
He kept asking on Twitter, "Hey, I'll play for your team. Who's got me?" And now he's got 6 sacks in the last 3 games.
He couldn't have found a better place. Here's another stat for you. It's going to blow your mind.
Hmm.
He's now played 16 games in a Ravens uniform. He has 15 sacks in those 16 games.
Forced a fumble, 2 TFLs, the 3 quarterback hits. Yeah, he's good, man. Any other locals in the NFL, JJ, that stood out to you that because you guys do a phenomenal job every Sunday of highlighting all these guys, and I just threw in a couple there, but
Oh, yeah. How about Zach Moss finding the end zone? Zach Moss playing a big role with the Cincinnati Bengals. Rashid Shaheed had a rough start, muffing a punt in the end zone that cost the Saints a touchdown, but he came back and caught 8 passes for 83 yards. Tyler Algier was great.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier, 60 yards on 2 catches. 6 carries for 60 yards. He averaged 10 yards per carry and caught 2 passes for 20 yards. So Julian Blackman had a nice game, had a sack, 6 tackles, recovered a fumble for the Colts. They had a big win over the Steelers, who were undefeated. So all those are great. And then Dalton Kincaid had 5 catches for 47 yards on Sunday Night Football. Jonah Ellis with another sack, by the way.
Look at that.
So a lot of good stuff going on.
Next up on the old NFL roundup here.
Tyler Huntley's starting right now.
Tyler Huntley firing up his. Wait, who just turned it over?
Who else? Will Levis.
I think it's pronounced Levi's. I think it's pronounced William Levi's.
Oh my gosh, he threw it right to the linebacker.
Are you shocked?
Will, what are you seeing, bro?
My question is when the coaches get to him at practice and they go, "We just have to just take care of the football, man." He goes, "Got it. First series, pick. Why not?" Yeah, he's not good. He's struggling.
Yeah,
and he's one of those guys.
Dolphins are going to absolutely crush these guys tonight.
I don't think anybody expected anything differently, but yeah, you're exactly right. I don't know if it's the NFL because this is another doubleheader. Who's the other doubleheader tonight? Oh, it's my Seahawks and the Lions.
That's right. That's a great game.
My undefeated Seahawks. Jeremy, thank you for the correction.
You're welcome.
3-0 against the 2-1 hapless Lions. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's actually going to be a hapless team, but yeah, you're right. So now this is my favorite part. And again, we still have a lot going on here, but this is when the Saints last week we looked at and went, okay, they lost to the Eagles. They lost their touch. The Falcons beat them. Now the Falcons, by the way, in the NFC South, between the New Orleans Saints and the Falcons, we actually have ourselves a little bit of a competition down there.
It's an interesting division.
And the Buccaneers are not bad either.
Well, the Bucs are the best team in that division.
Can I ask you about what this
The Bucs are good.
Can I ask you about what this beef is between Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield?
Kind of weird, right?
I don't know why either of them needed to make comments about the other.
Because they both have ginormous egos and they can't help themselves.
Tom Brady, and Tom has to bust out the very, very secure line of, well, I got Super Bowls.
Yeah, weird. Why does Tom even have to acknowledge whatever he said, which was probably taken out of context in the first place?
It was definitely not meant to the aggression level that Baker Mayfield is getting put on with that. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. That's a weird outcome there. But yeah, the Falcons and the Saints and the Buccaneers all pretty darn good in that one. Can we ask, is it okay? Is it appropriate to ask if the Chiefs have a decent offense this year? Because
they don't.
They're not winning games with their offense. Their defense is bailing them out of everything, it seems like.
I think that it was like a 52-yard pass to Xavier Worthy yesterday was Patrick Mahomes' first pass over 40 yards in like 30 games.
Wow. So
it's I'm
not much ability to take the top off the defense. I don't have the stat in front of me,
but it's something like that. Like they just have not. That's not how they've played. Of course, remember Tyreek Hill's been gone for a couple seasons. That used to be that deep threat he had. He hasn't had that deep threat. He was basically just Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Dink and dunk. And that's what they did for the last 2 years, and they won Super Bowls with it. Give them credit, but this offense hasn't been that dynamic without a game breaker like Tyreek Hill, and they've made it work. But now you lose Rashee Rice with potentially a torn ACL. They haven't announced that publicly.
Yeah, that's not looking good.
It doesn't look good at all. So the Chiefs look very vulnerable, but guess what? They looked very vulnerable this time last year, too.
Yeah, it's a weird Dink and Dunk. Is that what your nickname? Is that what we coined your nickname for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce?
Yep,
is that what we're
Dink
calling
and
him
Dunk.
now?
Yep.
Which one's Dink and which one's Dunk? Oh, Travis Kelce actually dunks it on the post, doesn't he? Or tries to.
Does.
He probably can't right now. Ooh. He like reaches up and he has that little he has that little pooch that sticks out when he's trying to dunk.
Does Taylor know that?
Not very swifty these days.
Ooh.
Hoyo. That's why they pay me the big bucks, brother. All right? Make puns like that. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Oh, we got stuff to roll out. We got a winner of our UFC contest that we, of course, were putting on all of last week. And we have a winner. And I'm trying to find it. Oh, I got it right here. Today's UFC ticket winner on the KSL Sports Zone UFC 307 ticket giveaway at Delta Center on October 5th. Larry Burt from South Weber. Larry Burt, South Weber. So you can be a winner this week too. Go to KSLSports.com and enter the UFC ticket giveaway yourself. Tune in every day. Hans and Scotty on the KSL Sports Zone or watch KSL 5 TV at 10 p.m. on the to get the daily keyword. Enter that keyword for a chance to win, and then listen to JJ and Alex, and we will announce those winners. We're doing this all the rest of the week, right? Or at least up until up until Saturday. Yeah. All right, let's do it. So that's how it's going to work. Find out what those keywords are. So Larry Burt's our first winner of the week of the UFC 307 tickets, courtesy of the KSL Sports Zone. Let's take a quick break here. By the way, speaking of giving stuff away, when we come back during our best and worst, we're going to roll out a winner we're going to allow you some time to win the Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers Play of the Week. If you can remember what DJ and PK did, we'll come back and we'll give out that phone number, and you can get yourself a gift card from Amazon. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
And now, a look at traffic from the KSL Traffic Center.
Boy, traffic's really bogged down through the Salt Lake Valley. If you're over the point of the
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Oh, my gosh. John Elway, you just won the Super Bowl. How about going nuts and getting your teeth fixed? You actually said that right to him at the ESPYs. My goodness. Gotta love Harry Carey. He'll be missed.
Rest in peace. Him and Pete Rose now.
Oh, yeah. Baseball lost another legend.
Sure Harry's calling that game in the sky. Pete Rose up the bat.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is he even allowed to play at the Field of Dreams in Iowa?
Absolutely not. Well, you know what?
Ty Cobb did, but we told him to stick
The Black
it.
Sox did, right?
Yeah, but then
of course, Pete Rose can play at the Field of Dreams.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, just like Kevin Costner said, you couldn't really prove that.
Oh, okay.
That Shoeless Joe threw the series.
They're all above board.
He batted 365, 17 stolen bases, whatever it was.
They were innocent.
But they didn't.
At least those Black Sox didn't lose.
I know.
121 games.
Yeah, that's the record, right?
It is.
So they went What did they go then? 41 and 121. Jeez.
Worst record in MLB modern history.
Grady Sizemore doing a great job picking up as the interim manager there.
How do you fix that mess?
You don't. You send the team to Salt Lake City.
There you go.
Fire up Electric Avenue.
Sox.
Oh, my goodness. It would just be like the Salt
Shovel
Lake.
ready.
I know. They're all, we want you to keep the White Sox name. It's like,
hard pass.
I don't know about that. All right.
Of course, you know what? White Sox would fit perfectly in Utah because of all the people wearing them with their sandals.
With their sandals, that would be that would be the mascot. A guy with some Tevas and some White Sox on, pulled up to his calves. Oh no!
So yeah, White Sox would be appropriate here in Utah.
A guy wearing socks and sandals asking you if you've tried the Earl Grey tea in Sugar House at the Sugar House Tea Company. That's the guy. That's the new mascot. All right.
That's a weird mascot, but whatever.
I'll take it if that's what it takes to get that baseball team.
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, I noticed you got those new Tevas. Yeah, I did. All right. Best and worst. An incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge,
Was
or
that
Ram.
just the worst? Did we just do the worst?
I think we just were the worst, yeah. Visit your Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how. Nobody knows like Doug. The best, though, I brought it up earlier, reduced concession prices over at Delta Center. Yeah, I was waiting for that. But also, $3 hot dogs, $3 nachos. What were the other three? $3 popcorn and the $2 water.
But the J-Dogs aren't free?
No. And in fact, I would want to pony up for the real thing. I'd want the J-Dog. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do the J-Dog. All right? Now, when I was in college, I would be like, hey, let's go to the Jazz game, get some Upper Bowl tickets, and I want to pay some Upper Bowl prices for some hot dogs and nachos. That's good pricing right there, brother. So there you go.
That is. It's great to hear.
And then, of course, so the passing of Dikembe Mutombo announced today. The passing of Pete Rose, of course, we talked about during our show, and those are the worst stories of the day, of course, because you never want to lose legends.
Well, we talked a lot about Pete Rose, and we should focus on Dikembe Mutombo, who was a much better human being and did more for this planet and people on it than we even know.
Right.
One of the greatest, not only just the greatest basketball players that played his position, one of the greatest human beings that played in the NBA. So it's sad to hear that. We grew up watching Dikembe Mutombo waving his finger, wagging his finger at people. And I remember the Jazz and Nuggets had an incredible playoff series back in 1994, and that's the Nuggets team that was the first 8 seed to ever beat a number 1 when they upset your Sonics. And I remember the vision of Dikembe Mutombo just laying there on the floor crying while he's holding a basketball. Like, the NBA doesn't feel like that anymore, and Dikembe was part of that. So
that was, and as a Sonics fan, that was one of those moments like you always remember, and you're like, I can't believe we just lost to the 8 seed.
Yeah.
But you had to appreciate how historic it was.
And that was a fun Nuggets team.
And even up till, 3 or 4 years ago, we were getting the Dikembe finger wag commercials that he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Those are good, man.
So we'll certainly miss him. The world's worse off today because he's left us. So Dikembe Mutombo passed away from brain cancer at the age of 58.
Okay. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We got more to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Take the Zone with you wherever you go. Download the